the computer.
Geez. Unbelievable.
Jeez.
Lewis and his stage fright nerves. I see nothing coming in though, so you may be lucky.
Nobody comes without the tweet. Tweet it and they will come.
Oh, the tweet has been
Toot it and they will. I don't know.
Eh.
toot it and it will be fluted.
You know what they call it on Blue Sky?
What's that?
A skeet.
Oh, jeez.
A what?
Of course.
A skeet, like
course.
sky.
Oh, okay.
Like
Jack Dorsey.
like skeet shooting?
SKEET. Is it spelled the same?
Are they gun people over there?
Hey, we're live, by the way.
They don't even know. They're like so anti-gun they don't even know what skeet is.
Well, a lot of people in Blue Sky came over from Twitter, so probably they are, actually.
I think we're live. Can you all hear us? Oh, man. Hello, guys. I had an epiphany. Sorry, we had some technical issues, but the technical issue led into a technical discovery of the ages. Can you hear all of us? Give us some audio there,
How
Griffin.
would they
At
know?
the
We're not
same
talking.
level?
Can you hear Griffin and Lewis? Can you all hear us? Yeah, okay. That is truly stupendous.
It'd be
Fantastic
hilarious
news.
if with that intro they said, no, we can't hear either of them. What's going on?
This is truly amazing. Well, so I won't bore you with all the details. We used to have Griffin and Lewis combined in the same audio track due to our setup. It's been going on for years, and it was a Skype issue. I was like, you can't fix it. And I accidentally called them in a different way, and suddenly their audio tracks were distinct, which means I can record them and adjust them individually, which has always been what I wanted to do. And I thought it was a mistake. I was like, how did this happen? Is this a fluke? And we figured it out. So now we have Griffin and Lewis in their own distinct audio tracks, which means we can record them separately. We can adjust them separately, which is what you want to do in any kind of video setup or a podcast setup, so that you can dial out background noise, whatever. So all of a sudden it seems to be working, and I was like, this is truly a miracle. I cannot believe we accidentally stumbled on this. It's like the discovery of penicillin, which was a total fluke, like a miracle from God. It's like this little spore landed in this. If you guys don't know the story of penicillin, it truly is amazing. Like, this guy left a culture in a lab, and I think the theory is a spore from like another level in this building made it through the ventilation system and landed in the petri dish. And when the guy came back in, he noticed that there was like this ring of no bacteria, and he didn't know why. And so he investigated this, and there's like this spore that is excreting this substance that prohibited bacteria growth. And lo and behold, it was penicillin. They discovered penicillin that way. Like, it was a complete, total accident, like a complete miracle that this guy happened to have seen this, researched it, and here we are in the year of our Lord, 2024, and the next miracle has been documented. We have now got discrete audio tracks. Metal Mike says popcorn was an accident too.
Microsoft employee discovers a feature of Skype. Next headline.
Oh, man. You're fired, by the way, Griffin. You're fired. Let's see. Should we go live? I guess we are live.
What have we got to lose?
Griffin's got friends coming over. What are you guys going to be doing this afternoon, Griffin?
Road trip. Or impromptu road trip to Philadelphia.
Wow.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah.
City of brotherly love, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And
Are you
Is that
going
what
to
they
get
call it?
I thought so.
Are you going to get a Philly cheesesteak?
I hope so.
You got to get a picture of you tearing into that giant hoagie, man.
God, man. Those are delicious.
I don't know if I've ever had a
this
real one.
technology podcast veers dangerously close to just being a sandwich podcast.
Is that a bad thing?
Sandwiches.
You say it as though it's
Sandwiches
a
are
bad...
like the greatest thing in the world.
I could
And
probably
I
do
really-
a whole episode on sandwiches with au jus. Sorry, Lewis, go ahead.
Oh, I really miss East Coast subs because you know what?
They're the best.
San Francisco, we just don't have it.
No.
We got great burritos. But
Well, at least you got those. We don't even have those here in Seattle. There was one really great Mexican place. It was a food truck. Dude, this food was transcendent. They made all their own sauces and everything from scratch. And they just couldn't make it. For some reason, they just couldn't make it. They kept moving locations. And they opened up like a restaurant location. No one was ever there. And then eventually they went out of business.
Ugh.
And there's a lot of like Mexican food places around here. Well, they'll make you a burrito, but it's like, I can make this burrito at home. Like there's nothing special about it. You just cooked meat and you added cheese to it. You put some rice on it, but like it's the way that you marinate the beef or whatever and the sauces that they put on. Like that's what makes it, man. And we don't have any good Mexican places that I found. None.
The way you keep it like drying out under a hot lamp for hours and hours, you just can't get that at home.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And that's actually my last Mexican food truck experience that I had. Like, it looked amazing. And then I ate it, and I was like, it's dry and unflavorful and horrendously disappointing. We have really excellent Thai food. Like, that's the one thing. And sushi. We have really great sushi here, too, but no good Mexican food. Actually, we have good Chinese food, too. But I feel like there's good Chinese food everywhere. Like, there's no city that has bad Chinese food. Maybe Ohio. All right. Let's move on. I think we're ready to go. I'm scrambling because that technical development, which equates with the discovery of penicillin, was so unbelievably shocking to me that it completely threw me off my game. I could not believe that we had distinct audio channels for each Griffin and Lewis. I couldn't believe what I was saying. We have literally been trying to do this. I have been trying to do this for years. I finally gave up because I was like, it's broken. It's just broken in Skype. There's no way to do it. And here we are.
Wonder how many years ago they added that capability.
It's probably been in there for 4 years. but it's so weird. It's almost like a design flaw. Like the way that it works is if I call you guys in a group call, the audio channels are separated. But if I call Lewis, which is what I normally do, and then add Griffin or vice versa, then the person who I called first is like the master audio track and everyone's audio gets piped into that channel. Dude, there's probably like, I would guess at least 10,000 people out there who have been trying to figure this problem out and didn't know that it worked this way. Like it should not work this way. There shouldn't be separate audio channels for one type of call and then everything gets smashed into one audio channel for a different type of call. Like there's no reason it should work that way. There should always be separate audio channels.
Maybe it's actually a bug and it'll be removed in like 2 weeks from now that you've called attention to it.
They're like,
Next automatic update.
I can hear the keyboard typing. We need to dial this out right away. All right. Well,
we can't make our product useful for people. We're Microsoft.
This can't be this intuitive. Who released this? Johnson. Full investigation. All right, let's see here. We're gonna do a full investigation of this, Johnson. Whatever you say, boss. All right, let's get this thing rolling, shall we?
Bold idea.
Okay. Oh, Mrs. D. Oh, Mrs. D, you sound particularly chipper. Oh, yes, I did a full investigation last night of L. Katie's private parts. Oh, God. She never ceases.
Distasteful.
Distasteful is the correct assessment there. Mrs. D, that was horrendous. Please don't ever say anything like that here on this show again. I don't know why you always take it there, but we don't want to hear any more about it. We got a lot of Apple stories to talk about this week, and I have to say a most excellent under review. I know it's been forever. And if you don't mind, we'll get the audio rolling. We'll get this podcast going in 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute outbound conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Airphone Live. Joining me today, one of his, I almost read the wrong intro. Police suspect the skeletons in his yard this Halloween were suspiciously similar to the heights and builds of several missing Cult Mac writers. Though that didn't give them enough evidence to get a search warrant. He's the managing editor of Cult Mac. Lewis Wallace is here.
Talk about distasteful. That might actually be actionable.
Also with us, all he wants for Christmas is a Pippin gaming console, preferably model KMP 2000, since that one included 8 megabytes of combined system memory instead of the paltry 6 that came in the previous 2 versions. I also heard that it had an optional SCSI port. He's a writer at CultCast Mac. Griffin Jones is here.
I would actually really like an Apple Pippin. If any audience listeners have one, get in touch.
Dude, I would love to have a Pippin. Are you kidding me? They're probably so expensive. I wonder how much they are. We should look this
I
up.
think they're only a few $100.
I mean,
bet
that's a
they're cheap.
lot for a 1990s
Ish.
gaming console that probably doesn't have any games.
Not a lot for a pretty rare retro computing device.
Dude, now we gotta look this up.
Like
We
a
gotta look
functioning
this up.
like Macintosh is now in the several hundreds of dollars these days.
Gaming console. I'm looking
Just
on
a
eBay.
regular Mac.
Like Macintosh of any variety, like Quadra 900, Mac SE,
Okay.
several $100s for a fully working example with all the accessories.
Here we go. There's tons of people asking $600 to $800 for their Pippins. So, but let's see how many they actually sell for. We'll search sold items on
There
eBay.
you go.
Dude, this one went for $1,000. They call it
Yeesh.
open box. One game alone, at Mark sold for $150. A brand new unused Pippin at Mark controller, $600. Ben,
I should say,
Bandai.
if anybody would like to contact me, feedback@dgriffinjones.com is the public email address you can use.
This Pippin parts only, which means it doesn't even work. $1,120.
What?
Dude.
Sold for that?
Yes, dude.
Sheesh.
Here's a Pippin that sold. Now this one works. $649. Here's another one that sold for $500. Dude, these are super expensive.
Old computer prices have gone up in the last few years, rather dramatically.
I
Like last
believe
5
it,
years or
man.
so.
I made almost my entire living in college. So I worked for Olive Garden for a long time. Not proud of that.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
One of the worst
I'm not
jobs.
surprised by it.
One of the worst jobs I ever had, dude. My manager, Todd. Dude, Todd was the worst. Was the worst. And the Olive Garden that I worked at was one of the highest grossing Olive Gardens in the entire country. And so the managers all had like really, really arrogant attitudes, like thought they were real hot-ish because, like they were managers at like the top grossing Olive Gardens that treated their employees horrendously, especially Todd, who was like in his 40s and dating the 20-year-old hostess that worked there. But thank God I got out of that job by selling old video games on eBay. So I started selling like Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, and I would buy like big lots of video games and then like sell all the parts individually, and made way more money ever doing that than I did working in a normal job. Plus I got to work from home, which was awesome.
And you're not committing travesties against the nation of Italy.
Yeah, well, there's also or the citizens of the U.S. feeding them what I believe to be fast food, dressed as I think Darden Incorporated, who owns Olive Garden, would consider the restaurant to be fine dining. And the area that I worked at, people would go there for prom. Like you'd always see people dressed up nicely to go to the Olive Garden because it was one of the nicer restaurants in that area. Or if it were in like a city scene, it would be considered like McDonald's plus. Sit down McDonald's, fine dining McDonald's. Anyway, so you can make a lot of money selling old computers and video game stuff. Of course, you got to have the knowledge, just like with anything else. It's like you sell magic cards. Most of them are worth a penny. But then there's the cards that are worth, hundreds of dollars. And if you know that, you can make the bucks. Anyway, where are we? Shall we move on? We got all sorts of stories to talk about this week. We've got what's coming next for the iPad Pro. We have a new HomePod on the way. Griffin's going to talk to us about, I thought, one of the most interesting stories of the week. It seems like there is a new way coming to market to upgrade your Mac Studio and Mac Mini's storage, which Apple obviously doesn't want you to do. I saw a video on this by Luca Miani. And did I say his name right? Miani? Is it Miani?
I've never heard of him. I don't watch tech YouTubers.
You never heard of him?
Isn't it just Luke?
I think
Did you say Luca?
No, Luke. But his last
Okay.
name's Miani.
Okay.
He looks super Italian too, and he's got that Italian last name. He's definitely got to be Italian, or he has some Italian heritage. Anyway, he did a video this week, and he was talking about this new storage that's available and like how they basically back engineered it, reverse engineered it to make it work. I thought it was fascinating, and we'll talk about that. Oh my gosh, we have all sorts of stuff. And then we're gonna wrap up with an all new under review. It's been forever since I've done one because I barely get any stuff anymore or barely request stuff anymore. But I've got a really great one this week. In fact, I would say it's been fairly transformational for me personally. So I'll tell you all about that. Before we dive in, Lewis, I want to thank one of our sponsors. Let's go ahead and thank Notion for supporting this episode. Notion.com/CultCast. Notion combines your docs, your notes, and projects into one space that's simple and beautifully designed. And the new Notion AI has the capabilities of multiple AI tools built in, which means you can search, generate, analyze, and chat all inside Notion. The new Notion AI is a single AI tool that does it all. Search across Notion and other apps, generate docs in your own style, analyze PDFs and images, and chat with you about anything. And I think this is like the most interesting part. Notion AI is connected to multiple knowledge sources. It uses AI knowledge from GPT-4 and Claude to chat with you about any topic. It can search across thousands of Notion docs in seconds to quickly answer any question. And with AI connectors now in beta, Notion AI can search across Slack discussions, Google Docs, Sheets and Slides, and more, like GitHub and Jira are coming soon. I mean, just imagine that. Being able to talk to or get answers about conversations that you've had in Slack, that is super helpful. I mean, Google Docs as well. I mean, it's just like being able to generate answers without having to go find the documents that you know that they are out there somewhere, but you're not quite sure where. It saves you a ton of time. You can try Notion for free when you go to notion.com/cultcast. That's all lowercase letters, notion.com/cultcast to try the powerful, easy-to-use Notion AI today. And when you use our link, you're supporting our show, which we appreciate, notion.com/cultcast. I keep seeing more and more and more people, especially YouTubers, switching to Notion for project management. It doesn't just do docs. It does way more than that. You can use it to manage entire projects now and collaborate with your team, which is why I think people are switching to it. And it's beautifully designed and cross-platform, which I appreciate. Griffin. Not everyone's 100% Mac and iOS all the time. Not everyone's so snooty. Some people have to use Windows. You know what I'm saying? All right. Shall we move on? Speaking of Griffin, you want to talk about iPad Pro, Griffin, after I have hyped it up earlier?
Not anymore.
Now that I've insulted you, I'll send it to you to talk about iPad Pro.
Sure. Apple's next iPad Pro upgrade could arrive in second half of 2025. The next big iPad Pro refresh, the first line is exactly the same as the headline I just read, according to a new report. The upgraded M5 iPad Pro will reportedly be the first product to use the next-gen Apple Silicon chip. The iPad Pro usually alternates on, like, does it get updated in a year? Does it take 24 months? Does it take 18 months? So arriving in the second half of 2025 would, I think, put it at like an 18-month cycle, which is interesting. The new M4 chip went well with the 2024 iPad Pro's slimmer design and upgraded tandem OLED displays. Ming-Chi Kuo says the M5 iPad Pro will go into mass production again for the third time in the second half of 2025. Have you getting it yet? All right. A launch in September or October seems plausible. The second half of 2025.
Got it.
September
Thanks.
or October.
Now you're giving me a dilemma. Okay.
Other months in the second half of 2025 include August, November, even July, maybe. But that's not usually
so
a
many
month when
months.
stuff happens.
Yeah.
Kuo says Apple's business momentum will see a notable uptick in the second half of 2025. Of several products, one of which may include the new iPad Pro.
Now I feel like you're just trying to troll us.
Okay, let's see. Next year's refresh is unlikely to pack any notable changes, although it'll be the first product with the M5. I think Mark Gurman previously reported that the M5 is going to be a small improvement over the M4, and Kuo is apparently saying the M5 is corroborating that. Reports suggest it'll be still fabricated on TSMC's 3nm node, albeit on a slightly newer generation that'll improve transistor density, but evidently not bring a massive leap in performance. Following the iPad Pro, Apple will use the same M5 chip on the MacBook Pro lineup. Even the Vision Pro will rumored to be spec bumped to the M5. That'll be a pretty significant leap, M2 to M5. A significant leap enough to make me spend another $3,500. We'll see. Probably not. I have more important things to spend money on than a second Vision Pro.
Well, wait till you see it. That's what you think now. Wait till you see it.
Yeah. Nothing I do in the Vision Pro feels slow. You know,
Yeah.
because you're never doing like such serious work in the Vision Pro that you're like constrained by speed. You know, writing an article in WordPress in Safari, but
Yeah, there are
I don't
certain
know.
other areas where I feel like the money could be better used, like the cameras. And maybe even the
But
screens,
yeah,
Like as good as
yeah.
those screens are, they're just still not good enough in my opinion.
So
Okay.
you're thinking you might hold off on an iPad Pro until
Dude,
the
not
M5
just an
one?
iPad Pro. I mean, so I'm going to be buying an iPad Pro and I would like to buy an iPad Pro and a MacBook Pro in 2025. I've also considered, Grifster and I were just talking about this, buying the Mac Studio instead because it's going to be cheaper and it's going to be so powerful. And I already have the studio display. So it seems like it would be the better choice and it would be cheaper. And especially considering like the story that we're going to be talking about later about upgrading storage on your own and not having to buy it from Apple, that would be, I mean, you could get 8 terabytes of storage for a fraction of what Apple charges for it, which I think is for the Mac Studio, I think it's $2,200 if I remember correctly. And so for me, I'm like, shoot, if I could do that and get 8 terabytes of storage for and the Mac Studio for a price that's less than the MacBook Pro that I want, that is actually compelling. And I've already waited this long. And if the iPad Pro is going to be getting refreshed in October or somewhere in the second half of 2025, I'm like, is it smarter just to wait and get like the best version? So now I'm torn. I don't know what I'm going to do. Because I was planning on getting a MacBook Pro and the iPad Pro in January, which is when, and I'm very grateful to have access to this, a discount will become available that I can take advantage of, which saves me a lot of money. So that's a compelling reason to do it. Plus, there's the tariffs that may be coming down the pipe at some point, like you don't know, which could drastically increase the price of Apple stuff. So I just don't really know what to do. But hearing you talk about it, I'm like, oh, maybe I should wait.
When you hear me mention a bigger number, M5 instead of M4, because that's all we really have. In fact, we've heard that it's kind of a disappointing update. So I don't know what exactly is enticing you about it.
Well, the M5 versus M4. I mean, that's pretty much it.
It's one more.
It's going to be one more than what we have now and probably a lot faster. But then I think, okay, and this is why I'll probably continue with my plan. There's always going to be a new, better one, right? And with the M4 Max, it's going to be way more powerful than I need. I am making a plan to return to my YouTube channel. This absolutely, I'm committing to it. I'm committing to it here on my show. It is happening in the year of our Lord 2025. I've been gone for way too long, and I've been thinking about this constantly, and I just keep not doing anything. And I'm gonna make it happen. I am definitely gonna make it happen. I don't know what it's gonna look like. That's been my hesitation, because I want to talk about more than just tech. And I don't know, like on YouTube, I'm gonna resist going on a tangent here because I could talk about YouTube strategy probably for a whole episode. But people, when they subscribe to a YouTube channel, typically only want one topic, right? Like, I don't want you to talk about your favorite water bottles and also your favorite TV programs. Like, I got different channels for that, right? But that's, as a creator, it's hard because all of us have varying interests, and I don't want to just make a channel about one narrow thing. And I'm kind of like the Apple guy right now, which I love, but I also have other interests. So it's like, how do you create a channel that appeals to multiple groups of people and have it be successful? Like, that's been my main dilemma, because I don't want to only make videos about Apple news and Apple topics. Like, I want to branch out outside of that, and I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but I am committed to
You
making
already have the podcast, so like you don't need a second avenue, really.
I mean, that's true, but the truth of the matter is like, even on my YouTube channel, like, that's kind of the thing, like, people want to hear me talk about, is because that's what they know me for. And a lot of people that listen to the podcast also would probably watch my YouTube channel. Although there are people who have never heard of the podcast that watch my YouTube channel. So, and maybe we could even do like some podcasts on my channel that expand outside of Apple. I don't know. Like, there's just a lot of things. And really, when it comes down to it, you have to just start somewhere and be willing to fail and do stuff that may not work, which I don't like because I'm kind of a perfectionist. So, but I am committing to doing something. Like, I really want to get something worked up. The chat's like, here we go again. Level Remix, how dare you? Can we get the mod in here? Get Level Remix out of here. How dare you?
Lewis, I want to talk directly to you for a moment.
Okay. We're having an
What
intervention here,
month?
Lewis, about
What month do
your
you
drinking.
think Airfon is going to publish
Oh.
a video in 2025?
May.
You mean like I may or in the month of May?
In the month of May.
Come on. You have little faith. No, I've already got the first video I think planned. I already know what I'm going to make it about. It's so
Yeah.
easy. It's so obvious. It's going to be, the title is going to be something along the lines of like, where the hell have I been? And I think I need to start there. Like, because people are like, what happened to you, man? Like, I have people on my YouTube channel still on a weekly basis reached out to me and say, what happened to you? Like, you just completely disappeared. And then, if that's not embarrassing enough, I made a video about HomePods, like the new HomePods, and I was like, I'm back. I'm going to start making content again. I disappeared again.
And that's what it'll be so great. Like, where the heck have I been? And then, maybe that comes out in January, and then the next one is in May.
Okay. We got to do something. I think I'm sorry, this is way off topic, and I apologize if people don't find this interesting. I'll move away from this. But I guess what I've decided is I have to become okay with not making the content I want to make, because I just don't have time to make the level of content that I want to make. And what I have to do is be okay making the content that I'm able to make, right? And so they may be less flashy, they may be less edited, and they may be single take things. And it's better just to. I heard Seth Godin. He's like an author and a speaker. He talks a lot about building audiences, and he's a really smart marketing person. And something that he said in the book forever ago stuck with me. He was like, take the best project that you can get, but take a project. It's like you can't just sit there waiting. Like, you have to do something to continue your craft, and it may not be the thing that you want, but you got to do something. And that's kind of where I'm at. So now I'm trying to figure out like how I'm going to make it work and what videos I'm going to do first. And I'm getting more products in, so that's going to be helpful. In fact, I'm going to be making a video about the thing that I talk about here on this show, probably as one of my first series of videos, because it is such a cool product. Anyway, I'm sorry, we're way off topic. And speaking of off topic, never mind, I'm not going to go there. Let's talk about HomePod with a large display. You want a new HomePod, right? I mean, I do. And it looks like we have one on the way, in case you were wondering. The HomePod with a built-in 6 or 7 inch display that's been the subject of previous rumors, will launch after Apple's developer conference in June. Dude! Now that's YouTube material right there. Previous rumors suggested a spring release. This is coming from Ming-Chi Kuo. Quote, compared to current HomePod lineup, the display-equipped HomePod will emphasize smart home functionalities more, said Ming-Chi Kuo. The display-equipped HomePod is expected to feature an A18 processor, a 6 or 7 inch display, and support for the Apple Intelligence. Oh boy,
The Apple Intelligence.
Oh yeah, it's the best intelligence that exists. The launch reportedly has moved back several times as Apple developers continue to work on its software. It is now about a half a year away. Quote, the mass production schedule for the display-equipped HomePod has been delayed multiple times. Initially forecasted in 2024, it was postponed to Q1 2025, and more recently until after WWDC 2025. Ming-Chi Kuo also repeated his prediction that Apple is prepping a smart home camera. Dude, that is interesting. A smart home camera. This will tightly integrate with the HomePod with a camera and isn't expected until 2026. I would love to see Apple get into like the security camera game, because it is all over the place, man. I've been doing a ton of research on security cameras and the almost said the rumors, the features that each of them have, and I love how this product lineup started. It was you buy a camera and the media is stored in the cloud for free, and you may have local storage. And now every single one has become a subscription for the most part. Like every single one of these companies wants you to pay them $5, $10, $20 a month to store your video. And Apple's already doing that. You're already paying for your iCloud storage space. And if you have a HomeKit-enabled camera, you can store depending on which plan you get, you get to store unlimited camera content as part of your iCloud subscription. So Apple has already positioned themselves to add a camera, and that storage capacity is already included with your plan. All they need is the hardware. And I bet you Apple's hardware, it would be the absolute best. I mean, it's going to be
This
beautiful.
would be an interesting reversal of like the typical pattern where typically Apple comes out with their product or their software platform or their offering. And then like a few years down the line, they open it up to third parties. Like, you know, they came out with the Find My system and then they opened it up to third party like manufacturers, and now we're seeing a lot of interesting products there. This would be a reversal of that where they come out with HomeKit Secure Video as a way of having a security camera without contributing to the police surveillance state. And then like nobody makes them or nobody makes anything out of it. And so they just have to come out with their own product. Like,
yeah,
weird.
I mean, that's pretty funny, isn't it? And I think a lot of us would prefer if Apple released something that we knew had better privacy features built in. And we felt like we owned that video and Apple wasn't going to do anything with it. And plus, I don't think Apple would charge you a monthly subscription fee for it. Well, they probably wouldn't at first. It would irritate me to no end if they moved from their current model where it's like included as part of your iCloud subscription to charging you for it. Actually, you know what? I could see them having like a distinct plan for any kind of cameras that they release, and that would be the only feature you got, or it's included as like part of like your Apple One or like your iCloud storage subscription or something as a way to entice you to pay for the larger subscription. And Apple's all about those subscriptions now. So they're going to probably try to do something that will get you to subscribe to them in some way. And I don't know, man. I could do a whole episode on camera companies right now. I'm testing one right now that I purchased over Black Friday, and it's really actually pretty interesting. I got a doorbell camera. I'll probably talk about that at some points because I had all those packages stolen. I have some different outdoor cameras that I'm using, and there are cameras from all these different companies, and they all have their strengths and weaknesses.
What kind did you buy?
I don't want to say yet.
Really?
I'll tell you off there.
Oh, it's a secret.
Yeah.
Anything that interests you about the HomePod with a screen?
Oh, totally.
You know that thing we're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I said this previously. I would be all for having some kind of permanent screen in my home, like the Amazon Echo Show, that basically has like the Home app loaded on it at all times and could show you video feeds from cameras, could let you control the lights or other, connected devices in your home and control them on this screen. I think that would be super useful. And I think
I've got one.
What do you have? That's not what I mean, Lewis. It's not always on.
It's an iPhone. It's got an always on screen.
I know, but there's a reason I use my TV remote and not the remote app on my iPhone, because I have to go to it and get to it, and then I can't use my iPhone for other things without switching to different apps. I mean, I think it's fine if you want to do that, but I don't think that normal people want to control their smart devices that way. And also, we talked about this in previous shows, it's confusing for the plebs, Lewis. Your house cleaner comes to your house and she's like, how do I turn on the lights?
Sure. But yeah, okay, yeah, go look at that little 6-inch screen on your HomePod on your coffee table, or where are you going to put it? I guess you put it in your kitchen so you can use it for recipes.
It is interesting that Mark Gurman's talking about it as this is a wall-mounted iPad that controls smart home stuff. And Ming-Chi Kuo is describing it as a HomePod with a screen.
I know, but Mark also said that they're working on multiple devices. So, like, to be clear, we're talking about completely different things. Like, there is a tablet-like object that Apple is going to be. I mean, it's essentially going to be a stripped-down iPhone, it sounds like. And
or
it will mount to your
iPad
wall.
Mini.
Or that, right. And it just mounts to your wall, and all it's going to be used for is controlling smart objects in your home. Whereas this seems like an extension of that. It's the screen, but also attached to a HomePod.
Maybe they aren't separate products, and it's actually just like a HomePod that you bolt onto your wall, like speakers on it, on the left and right sides of the
Or
of the
maybe
screen.
it's a HomePod with a space for a tablet, so you could like plop the tablet down into it as like a receptacle. I mean, who knows?
That's what I've always said
robotic
would be a better
arm.
product.
Robotic arm.
Maybe it's gonna be a robotic arm, like the kind that you see building Teslas. Maybe it's like something like that.
The exciting thing is that we don't know, and that's rare these days.
That's true. Hey, I'm feeling much more optimistic than I have last episode. I'm like, I'm all for it. Let's see what they do. By the way, Griffin, check your audio level. I feel like your audio level dipped again. How can you all hear him in the chat? I'm still completely wowed that we have you on separate audio channels. This is completely incredible.
It's like
It
living
did go
in the
down, so I bumped
21st
it back
century.
up.
Whoa!
Yeah, see, there's something going
Loud
on.
again.
There's something going on with Griffin's audio. His computer has a life of its own. It's like it's possessed, and it will just like change his audio volume on the fly, which is often why he's so quiet. But all right, just keep an eye
The whole
on it.
HomeKit thing is like desperately in need of some movement, right? I mean, Leander and I were talking about this the other day. It's like he asked me some question, and I'm like, yeah, I know he was asking about like smart plugs, right?
Yeah.
I said, well, yeah, that's kind of like an older model. The newer ones have Matter support, which sounds awesome. And he's
Which
like,
is
oh, yeah,
awesome.
how's it working? I'm like, I don't actually know because I don't own anything that's Matter compatible except for the HomePod Mini, I guess is.
Yep.
And I've already bought so many smart plugs, HomeKit compatible ones. Like, it's not like I need a whole bunch more. I mean, how many lamps are you going to plug in your entire house? I mean, not that many, right?
I've got some Matter-enabled plugs, and there is a noticeable difference between those and the ones that are not Matter.
Faster
enabled.
response.
Not just faster response; it's actually more. They're reliable. They actually work. Like they turn on and off when they're supposed to. Where the other ones were not like that. Depending on where they were in your house. So just to kind of give you guys like a quick summary of Matter. Like one of the reasons why that technology is useful is because every single Matter device can communicate with other Matter devices. So they like daisy chain together and they extend the range of communication on your property. Whereas previously your Matter plug, or your regular HomeKit plug had to be located near a device that can control it, like your HomePod or your iPad. Well, if it's downstairs across your house, like the signal may not reach out there, and so the plug just wouldn't turn on and off. Well, now these plugs all talk to each other, and so it's just way more reliable because they can all extend the signal and work together to make sure that the accessories on the far ends of your house or property actually work normally. And ever since I installed mine, and they were super cheap. Like I think I bought a trio of like TP-Link Tapo plugs, which I love, for I think like $20. And
$20 total?
Yeah, they're super cheap.
That's real cheap.
I know. They're mega cheap, man. And they go on sale all the time. I don't know what they are right now. They also have an outdoor plug that they sell, which I think was like $15. And I think it's worth spending the $100 and replacing all your plugs in your house because they will work so much better. At least they have in my experience. But yeah, so the Matter stuff's great. Plus, if a company integrates with Matter, they don't have to be like, and maybe this is not something that companies do anymore. They don't have to be like HomeKit certified, like that silly certification that they had to get from Apple before, which no one wanted to get or pay for. Now they integrate with like this open standard, and now these devices will work with your Amazon devices, your Google devices, your Apple devices, the mixture thereof. Like they can all communicate with these devices now, and that's way better than where we were, where it's like, Apple only connects to Apple HomeKit devices, and Google only connects to, it just doesn't make any sense. And now,
and the advantage is that like Matter was actually grown out of HomeKit. Like the Matter standard is largely based on HomeKit in a lot of ways.
Oh,
so
really?
you're still getting that benefit when you buy a Matter device.
Now that's interesting. I didn't know that. So Apple basically just like made it open source or something.
Pretty much.
Well,
they contributed heavily to the standard.
That is smart. Round of applause to Apple for doing that. That was a great move, and kind of a weird move by Apple to do that. But
they've done it before. Like they are also on the consortium that developed USB-C.
Qi 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just love seeing Apple participate with the tech community and not keep things so siloed. Now, if only they would do that with Mac storage, that would be great. Or RAM, that would also be great. I hate how they solder everything onto the actual motherboard. Let's see here. Where are we?
What do you mean, where are we? We were just about to do the segue into that story.
Yeah, it was the perfect segue, and then you...
Was it?
What the...
Upgrade. You know what? I didn't even see that was the next story. That was completely on accident.
Just like Zen podcast.
All right.
You're just so in the flow, man.
I'm in the flow, man. That's where I live, Lewis. Well, then I'll send it to you, Griffin, to talk about upgrading your Mac storage, which has me deeply conflicted about what computer to buy.
Sure. 2 weeks ago, we spoke about how the new Mac Mini has replaceable storage chips similar to the Mac Studio. Although Apple doesn't sell these chips as aftermarket upgrades, someone could reverse engineer the design and make a product around that and sell them, undercutting Apple's insane pricing. Well, the French company Polysoft did exactly that. They reverse engineered Apple's proprietary NVMe SSDs for the Mac Studio and put them on the market at prices well below Apple's. We have a quote here. "We sacrificed a SSD module." That's quite a feat. Those are expensive. "Removed all its small components one by one using a laser station, inventoried them and measured their characteristics. Then we oil sanded every layer with fine-grained sandpaper and scanned every layer with a flatbed scanner. We could then start making our own schematics from this work." And they put out a product for the Mac Studio. I don't think there's any word yet on if they're developing one for the Mac Mini, but that presumably could be the next product in their lineup there.
Mm-hmm.
So the Polysoft Studio Drive comes in 2, 4, and 8 terabyte configurations with prices ranging from $420 to $1,160. Apple's prices for those same configurations start at $600 and go up to $2,400.
It's ridiculous.
And of course, can only be added when you buy the Mac. These were initially offered in a Kickstarter campaign that has ended, but general sales will continue in 2025. And as you mentioned at the top of the show, YouTuber Luke Miani has already tested them, verified that these are like a real product that does work when you put them in a computer. A good thing that you want storage to do. So it's an exciting time. The Mac Mini and the Mac Studio, already great desktop computers, now made with the fascinating technology that we already had from the mid 80s until like 10 years ago. Replaceable, upgradable storage. Imagine that.
This is incredible, man. I mean, there's a video. We'll link to the story in the show notes, and it links to the video, or you could just go on YouTube and look for Luke Miani's channel. But the video is really interesting. I mean, the fact that they sanded down the chip layer by layer and then basically x-rayed it so they could see exactly how the thing was architected. I mean, first of all, that is completely bonkers. And the fact that they were able to actually make sense of any of that and reverse engineer it into their own chip is truly incredible. And I mean, again, just to kind of highlight the cost difference, if you want 8 terabytes of storage in your Mac Studio, I think it's $2,200. And this company, what was it, Polysoft, charges
$2,400.
$2,400. Charges, I think, €800. So maybe, I'm not sure what the conversion is there, like maybe $1,000. So
It says 1160.
1160, is it? Okay, so less than half the price. My only concern is Apple going to do something to nerf this, right? Like, could they make some software change that would effectively render these modules useless? I don't
think they can, because the chips that are on these little cards are effectively just raw storage chips. Mm-hmm. On the MacBook Pro, they're all like soldered into one unit. They're all soldered on the logic board, so you can't replace them. And like, for whatever reason, like those chips are like software locked or something, like encrypted against something inside the processor itself. But these are just like raw storage chips on a custom little motherboard. So you can just buy, 2 terabyte and 4 terabyte and 8 terabyte like NAND storage chips and reverse engineer the little board that goes on them, and then your Mac doesn't know the difference.
I hope that's true, but I would be nervous because this is a lot of money to spend. I mean, you spend $1,200 and you use it for a year, and TC personally codes a workaround that renders these storage modules useless, and that would be a pretty big, tough pill to swallow. I don't think Apple would do that because I suspect most people would never even hear or want to try to tinker with their Mac in this way. But it could, I could see this getting big enough where it actually affects Apple's revenue, and they're like, okay, we got to do something about this. Because pros, who I think would be the ones who typically spend the money to get 8 terabytes, might actually be the people who would be willing to buy something like this and update it or upgrade it themselves. Although you do have to take the Mac Studio apart, which is not terrible, but you have to like pull off like the rubber seal around the bottom, which I'm not even sure how you would replace. So you got to do some dissection before you install something like this. But this is hugely valuable.
Taking the bottom off of a Mac Mini isn't terribly hard. I actually did it a few weeks ago when I had my M4 Mac Mini that I was reviewing. I think I figured, well, while I'm at it, while I have my Mac Mini unplugged from its station, I should open it up and like clear the dust out of it that's probably accumulated in there. It just pops right off. You know, you get like a little plastic wedge thing and it just snaps off and you can just snap it back on again. Like, although there's nothing really you can do in there aside from cleaning it out, it's easy to get there.
The Mac Studio, I think, is pretty easy too, but there is that rubber, it's a seal, but it also, is for like desk protection. And when you pull that off, I think it's adhered to the Mac Studio. And once you get it off, you can't put it back on again. So you would need to like buy a new one somehow, which maybe they sell on Amazon. I have no idea. So it adds a little extra layer of work. I mean, it's certainly not insurmountable, but probably it sounds like it's not as easy as maybe the Mac Mini is. But regardless.
I'd also say that like probably a majority of the Mac Minis and Mac Studios that are sold broadly are probably to like fleets or, businesses buying these by the 100 or 1,000.
Yeah, you might be right.
Mac Stadium buying these to put them in server farms. And I can't imagine those customers would make it as part of their process to upgrade storage modules by hand if they do that.
No
at
way.
all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So, maybe like the 30% of real people, individual people who buy these machines, then maybe like 5% at best of those customers buy the aftermarket storage upgrades instead. I don't know. It wouldn't affect Apple's bottom line, but it is much nicer for the pro users who want to do it.
Dude, I would totally do it. I mean, not only is this chip way less expensive, I think it's actually better quality because they add like voltage protection in, which I guess a problem with some of these SSDs is like they maybe lack voltage protection. And if they get zapped by electricity, they die, which is a problem that people have with the inbuilt SSDs. And these chips apparently don't do that. They have a 5-year warranty. Of course, the warranty is only as good as the company's longevity. If Polysoft can't sell these things, your warranty is not going to mean a whole lot when they're gone in 12 months. But I certainly hope that doesn't happen because this is a very interesting development. And I mean, it's interesting enough that it has me seriously wondering if I should just wait and buy a Mac Studio, which I probably won't do. But it's compelling. I mean, 8 terabytes for $1,000. That's a pretty good deal. It's something that I think is at least worth considering with the 5-year warranty, especially. All right,
Moves the chains.
What's that?
As they say, that really moves the chains.
I've never heard anyone say that before. Did you just make that up?
I think not that I'm into sports, but I've heard that phrase being used in football. Like when anything happens in the middle of a game, you can say, "Oh, that really moves the chains," and sound like you know what you're talking about.
I know about the wind of change, right, Lewis? Take me to the magic of the moment. I can't remember what the lyrics are. And the winds of change. Should I try to do the whistle? I can't do it when you're laughing. It makes me laugh. Well, Griffin has no idea what we're talking about. All right. Speaking of change, let's change the topic. And before we move on... Oh, shoot. Did I load this? Oh, thank goodness. Lewis, I know you have a powerful imagination. So I'm going to go to full screen Lewis while we do this so people can see your REM response. I want you to imagine your company's security like the quad of a college campus. There are nice brick paths between the buildings. Those are the company-owned devices, Lewis, IT-approved apps, and managed employee identities. And then there are the paths that people actually use, Lewis, the shortcuts worn through the grass that are the actual straightest line from point A to point B. Those are unmanaged devices, Lewis, shadow IT apps, and non-employee identities like contractors. Most security tools only work on those happy brick paths, Lewis, but a lot of security problems take place on the shortcuts. 1Password Extended Access Management is the first security solution that brings all these unmanaged devices, apps, and identities under your control. It ensures that every user credential is strong and protected. Every device is known and healthy, and every app is visible. One Password Extended Access Management solves the problems traditional IAM and MDM can't, Lewis. It's security for the way we work today, and now it's generally available for companies with Okta and Microsoft Entra, and in beta for Google Workspace customers. Check it out at onepassword.com/cultcast. That is onepassword.com/cultcast, and the one is just the numeral 1. onepassword.com/cultcast. Thanks to 1Password for supporting this episode. Alrighty. Thanks for helping me get the point across on that one, Lewis.
I can totally see it, man.
I know, I could tell, because you were really getting into it, and the little sound effects let me know that you really were envisioning that campus and that quad, taking you back to your college days. Should we talk about this totally zany Apple TouchBar that I think is probably doomed to fail, but we could talk about it anyways in case anyone is missing the TouchBar?
Yes, Apple's TouchBar has been resurrected as FlexBar, a standalone USB-C OLED strip. That figures I have to get the one that says OLED. OLED. I hate that word. I really do.
Seem to have a problem saying it.
Every time. Anyway, so it's a new Kickstarter project. It aims to breathe fresh life into Apple's discontinued TouchBar, offering a more versatile and customizable solution that works with Mac and Windows machines.
Oh, both. Cross-platform.
FlexBar.
I love to hear it.
Oh, yeah, you love it. FlexBar, developed by Hong Kong startup ENIAC Technology, reimagines the controversial MacBook Pro feature as a standalone accessory that promises to deliver on the TouchBar's original potential. This is their statement on their Kickstarter thing. The discontinuation of the original TouchBar didn't mean the concept was flawed. It simply wasn't taken far enough to reach its full potential.
Okay.
So there you go. And they say the potential for a customizable adaptive interface that could streamline workflows was immense. We decided to step in.
Wow.
They're stepping up the back. So this, they've got prototypes of it. You can watch videos of it. The new FlexBar, it features a 10-inch 2K. Now, how do I say this one? AMOLED?
Yeah. You said
AMOLED?
it right. Yeah.
AMOLED touchscreen display. 2170 by 60 pixels, housed in an aluminum alloy frame, connects via USB-C, includes features that the TouchBar never offered, such as haptic feedback through a built-in motor. So there you go.
I'm watching the video right now.
It looks awesome, doesn't it?
Does actually look...
It looks fun as can be.
It actually looks useful.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this, I had a MacBook Pro with a TouchBar, and I never used it because I work at a desk with a giant monitor, right? And the laptop's over there is like my Slack screen. So I would have to, I almost never use it as an actual laptop. And so the TouchBar wasn't really there for me. This thing, you can put it anywhere. You can put it in the middle of, on a laptop. You can put it at your desk. You can put it any which way you want. You can see they have all different, examples of ways that you could use it, things like the TouchBar, where like a giant strip of emojis, which is, honestly, that alone is probably worth the purchase price for this thing, as much as people use emojis these days.
You can put it on top of you can use it with a desktop computer or with a laptop, and then forget it's there, and then break your screen when you try to close the lid.
Yeah,
That's
wouldn't
right.
that be great?
Dude, seriously.
Yeah, don't.
I could
do
actually
that.
see that happening. Wow. That's a really interesting observation.
Like a handlebar lock kind of thing that, so you can't do that.
Yeah, and we should point out, in the video, people with a laptop have it sitting above their keyboard, below their screen, right next to the hinge, right? So if you weren't paying, I could totally see that happening. Like, you're just not thinking. You go to close your laptop lid and crack.
Yikes. You only do it once.
That's right. That's right. Yikes.
Let's see. Company is developing a FlexBar designer app that allows users to personalize their control layouts and functions. Additionally, the company plans to release API support for developers and launch a plug-in marketplace in Q2 2025. I really hate that Q2.
Because so many developers supported the original TouchBar.
Well,
it was on every single MacBook Pro.
Yeah, that's
TouchBar
the
marketplace, man.
Part of it that's weird, right? Who knows? Potentially expanding device capabilities beyond Apple's TouchBar. Yeah, it does have. There are a lot of people who use PCs, right? But the thing does look cool. And I mean, you can see all this in that video. I don't know how much of that you showed.
I've been showing it the whole time.
People are using it for like
Games,
audio,
Minecraft
stuff. They're using it for, they're using it for graphic design stuff. You can put all kinds of shortcuts and things in there. It reminds me a little bit of like Elgato Stream Deck, right? I mean, that's kind of what it is, and it's just different form factor. Let's see. How much more should I read? Software site appears to remain a work in progress. Windows version of the FlexBar Designer tool is currently available in alpha form, with macOS version still under development with no specified release date. Early backers can secure a FlexBar for $119, significant discount from the planned retail price of $179.
Yeah.
Kickstarter campaign runs until January 2, with shipping expected to begin in February 2025. One thing that's hilarious is that their Kickstarter goal was something like $2,033 or something. It was really a tiny amount of money, and they broke 100,000.
Wow!
I mean, so there's definite interest in this project. So,
I mean, look, if it works as well as this video indicates that it will, it actually will be useful. I guess my only apprehension is like they're going to be creating a marketplace. It's like, dude, it's going to be, if Apple couldn't get people interested in building for the Touch Bar, like how are you going to do it, right? I would be surprised if you get anyone creating any kind of like apps for this thing. It seems to me like the company is going to live or die by their ability to create first-party uses for this, what do they call it, the Flex Bar, for popular apps like Minecraft, like, Photoshop, like Logic, like it's popular app here. Like they're going to have to be the ones that create these integrations. And if they don't,
we should also clarify for the audience that this isn't like actually related to the original Touch Bar. It's a different product with the same idea.
Yeah.
But it's not running like the Touch Bar software. So like on the Touch Bar, you could have like the emoji picker when you bring up that. Unless they have like some custom software, it won't be able to do that. With the original Touch Bar, it would like show you your Safari tabs or like, media controls for like videos playing or music or podcasts. This won't have that unless they redevelop it somehow, but they won't have the same hooks into macOS that the original Touch Bar had.
Right.
So they'll have a harder time making it a great first party experience.
Dude, it looks like a nice product though. It looks like a nice product.
The demo looks
super
slick.
appealing. Yeah,
looks like looks like they got it all nailed, but who knows? I mean, I guess you can do anything with a demo, but
that's the thing. I mean, they have all these great examples, but it's like, how much of this stuff is actually real? Is this thing vaporware? It's hard to know. But at $120, it's like, not super duper high risk. It's like it would suck to lose your 120, but not the end of the world, right? Like, you can move on with your life. Anyway, the Flex Bar available on Kickstarter. If you want to grab one for yourself, let us know how it works. I think that's going to be a pass from me. I didn't like the original Touch Bar. I have no reason to buy another one.
I kind of loved it when I used it, the few times I did. 'Cause it's like, wow, this is actually really a slick piece of hardware. And the main problem for me was just that it was over there. It was out of reach.
Yeah. Yeah. And they just didn't really, it just never really was, it never really lived up to the promise. It just didn't integrate with any apps in any useful ways. And so it just kind of never went anywhere. God, the Touch Bar, man. I forgot about the Touch Bar. The Touch Bar for, 5 years when that thing was out? Oh, my goodness. All right, let's see.
You think that's bad? What about the camera control?
The camera control? What do you mean? Oh,
do you
on
even
the current
remember what that
iPhones?
is? The button on your phone.
Dude.
That thing really took off, didn't it?
I know. Completely unused by me.
You must have forgotten about it because visual intelligence isn't out yet.
Oh,
That's right.
There we go. Next week, you'll know all about it, buddy.
My favorite thing about the camera control is that it creates a cutout in cases, which makes it easier to hold my my phone. And actually, I do use it sometimes to activate the phone, or to activate the camera, but I don't actually use it to take pictures because I like to use the zoom. And so the on-screen zoom UX is way better than this little button. And I find this little button to kind of be sometimes unresponsive and too small to actually do anything useful.
It's too small, so you can't be as precise.
Yeah.
a tiny little movement of your finger does much more on the camera control than it does on the screen.
Yeah. So for all those reasons, I just kind of a flop for me, but I don't know. I think it'd be cool if they gave you the ability to remap that button and let you do other things with it. Then actually it might be useful. But
Like what?
I don't know. Activate a second function.
Turn
like
on your flashlight.
Yeah. Seriously. Adjust the flashlight intensity.
Flashlight volume.
Turn up my flashlight volume. I mean, that actually might be useful. Yeah. They can even work in that sound effect.
Flashlight on.
That would be
Flashlight
cool.
off.
Some other ability to control other apps. I mean, if they just made it a launcher alone, I feel like that would make it more useful.
Kinda
I mean,
like
shoot, if you give me a button to launch the stocks app, then I'd be happy. Oh, the stocks. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, the action button.
Second action button. Man,
In a convenient place.
that would be handy.
I've probably accidentally opened up my camera more times than I've intentionally used the action button.
Oh, man, I have my action button as my flashlight. I use that dang thing probably at least 10 times a day. I use it all the time. All the time. Love it.
Yeah, I guess since I switched it to the flashlight, I do use it a little more often. But it's just
I figured out a really great thing to use my action button for.
oh
I use it for, I have it do two different things. I set up a special shortcut because there's now a shortcut action or like a shortcut logical thing that you can do that's like get device orientation that you can then use to like program your shortcut. And so I have it do two different things. When I'm holding my phone vertically up and down, it adds an item to my shopping list. I use it all the time because I always say, oh, I should add that to my shopping list. And I literally never do. But it also does another thing. When I'm holding my phone horizontally, it toggles orientation lock. So like if I turn my phone horizontally to like watch a YouTube video and it doesn't rotate, well, while it's horizontal, I can click the action button and then it turns it off again and turns it back on. I wasn't sure when I bought my phone and I got my first action button, which of those two things I was going to make it do. But then like an epiphany hit and I was like, if the phone's horizontal, it's probably because I want to toggle orientation lock. Because I'm either like reading something in bed sideways or I'm watching a video.
You know, that would be very helpful. I think what you should do as soon as you get off this call is write up a post about that for Cult of Mac.
As soon as I get off this call, I'm going to edit the podcast and then leave for Philadelphia. So I will not be doing that.
So
Monday,
brotherly love, Lewis.
Yeah. You've got a cheesesteak on your mind.
All right, look, we gotta wind this thing down because I think both Griffin and I have to go. And that's fine because we only got one more story. And we're doing an all-new under-review. God, we need to start bringing back some of these segments that we almost never do anymore. I know I say that all the time.
Yeah, that we haven't done in at least a week.
Well, Griffin is the only one ever has anything to pitch. I've been trying to get more stuff from people, and I do got one this week. And I might have a little giveaway action for you all. Little giveaway action. So I have been using a product, and I wasn't sure what I was going to think of it. And I got to say, it is pretty gall darn great. It is called the CarPod Go T3 Pro. This is, I think, one of the easiest ways to add CarPlay to any car. And I just thought it was going to be kind of sucky, to be honest with you. And I've been using this thing, and I got to say, it works absolutely great. The screen is beautiful. It's responsive when you touch it. I mean, is it, 100% as good as your iPhone? I mean, no. The iPhone screen is like the best of what's around, but it's dang good. So it's essentially a way to bring a large 1920 by 720 IPS touchscreen to your car that integrates with your iPhone. So you plug this thing in, you mount it to your dash. It takes you like 10 minutes to set it up. Super easy. And then when you connect or when you turn your car on, it connects to your phone and you can use CarPlay. Dude, I absolutely love it. And for me, so I should say the thing's $230, which, not cheap, but, and I was given one for free. So you should all know that. But if I didn't get to keep this, I seriously think I would actually go buy it. I like it that much. It allows me to keep my my maps open all the time when I'm driving, which I love. And not only that, but I go from like the maps on my iPhone, which is like a little 2.5-inch square, to a big, beautiful 1920 by 720 screen, which I think is like 7 inches long. It's 8.9 inches long. It's huge. And you can like see everything on your map. You don't have to like stare at your iPhone and try to figure out what's going on. It's the screen is like bold and beautiful, and it connects reliably. Like every time I turn on my car, like pretty much every time it connects. There's been a couple instances where I had to like turn it off and turn it back on again, but it's reliable, and it allows you to access everything available via CarPlay. I use it primarily for maps. There are other apps like Waze and settings and music and stuff. There are some other functionality built in that I haven't taken advantage of. Like you can connect it to your car's like accessory audio ports, so like it can interact with your car's audio. I don't tend to use that because I don't really care if it connects to my car's audio system or not. Like I really only need it for maps, and I can use my phone for connecting to my car's Bluetooth and like broadcasting audio and stuff. So I don't really care about any of that. Like pretty much for me, this is just a maps machine. It allows me to use maps, and you could control music, via your phone on this big, beautiful display, and then have your phone be the thing that's connected to your Bluetooth in your car. So I just love it. The other thing I think I would point out, it has a really bright display, 700 nits, super bright. You could see it really well even in daylight. I would prefer if it was 1,000 nits. I think that would be better. But it's plenty bright for most situations that I've used it in. It automatically adjusts the display brightness as you're driving. It refreshes at 60 FPS, which is pretty smooth. I mean, it's not as good as your iPhone's, like 120, but it's good. Like, it's smooth enough in the map situations where it's like, moving the map around. Sometimes it's a little jittery, but for $229, and every once in a while they put it on sale, I just think it's an absolutely killer device. I can't believe how good it is. It's like this company that came out of nowhere, and I kind of figured that it would just not work very well. And they cracked the code, man. Like, this device is great. Can it be used vertically? I don't know. I've never tried that. Why would you want to use it vertically?
So you don't have a regular, you didn't have CarPlay in your car at all?
No, I my Subaru just came with like a regular stereo, and I ran across this company in my research on like ways to add CarPlay to your car, and this thing's super well reviewed on Amazon. And so I reached out to them and I was like, would you send me one? Can I test this out? Like I host this podcast. I think people would be interested in hearing about this. And they're like, we'll send you 2. So I was like, okay, I don't need to, but
jeez.
So I have it mounted. So there's a couple ways to mount it. You can mount it on your dashboard via like this fixed mount dash or this fixed dash mount. Or you can fix it to your window. Now I should point out, like, they want the device to be resting on your dashboard. Like, it's not going to be elevated in the air. So like, however you mount it, like the weight of it needs to be sitting on your dashboard. And then it just stays there because the mount holds it in place, and it sits on your dash. Now, depending on how your dash is oriented, you may find it hard to find a good place to position this thing. Like in my car, it was a little bit tricky, but I found something that worked. And now that I have it in my car, I just absolutely love having the maps load. As soon as I get in the car, anywhere I go, it just shows me what's going on traffic-wise. I can load places that my phone thinks that I'm going on the CarPod Go. Like, I mean, it's CarPlay, right? So it's like it's just basically a larger screen to interact with your phone via CarPlay in your car. And I absolutely love being able to do it. It's been incredible.
So that's the first time you've ever used CarPlay at all?
Yeah, I've had no other exposure to CarPlay because I never had a car with CarPlay. And I didn't want to like pull out my radio and install something with, CarPlay integrated. And not only that, but like I feel like this is, in many ways, almost a better integration with CarPlay than you would get on a radio because the screen is huge. It's a 9-inch screen sitting on your dashboard. Like, you could never get a 9-inch screen in your radio space. So far, highly recommended. It's been rock
CarPlay is
solid.
awesome.
CarPlay is awesome. Yeah.
And it's wireless. That's nice.
and it's wireless CarPlay. That's the other thing. I'm glad that you mentioned that because I was looking at buying a new Honda earlier this year. I decided not to. Obviously, I bought the Subaru. And you had to buy like a top-spec Honda to get the wireless version of CarPlay. And you'd end up spending like an extra $4,000 because they hid that behind like, some car upgrade. And here you get it for $230. And it's rock solid reliable. I mean, I know I keep saying that, but I was genuinely surprised. I just really didn't expect this thing to perform as well as it does. Like, it's smooth, it's reliable, it's functional. The only thing that I would maybe say is that they need to improve like the mounting hardware. Like, I'm a little worried that the mounting hardware is maybe not as high quality as the screen itself. Well, it's definitely not. And maybe it will have the longevity that I'm worried it may not have. I haven't had any issues with it so far, but I would love to see them improve the quality of the mounting hardware. But so far, no issues. And we're going to be giving one of these away. Now, I've decided it's probably best to reserve this giveaway for those in the very exclusive Cult Club. I know that's going to disappoint some of you, and a lot of you won't care. But we got to give those people something. Right, Griffin? I mean, we talked about doing giveaways, and we haven't done a single one yet. And there's a bunch of people who are forking it over. And so if you are a Cult Club supporter, I'll hop into the very exclusive Cult Club and announce the details. If you're in the U.S., I'll ship it to you for free. If you're in the EU, I might have you pay for shipping because that would be extremely expensive. But we can work out the details of it, and I'll announce more details, in the Cult Club soon. And if you want to support, if you've been thinking about forking it over, anyway, and you're like, yeah, okay, fine, I'll do it. Go to support.thecultcast.com, cult of 9 to 5 macrumors.com, and toss us $5 a month. It's just $5. Look at poor Lewis. Is he not worth $5 a month? Look at Griffin.
Just think, we could turn on the lights.
Griffin can hire, or Lewis could hire a maid and clean up that huge pile of stuff that's behind him that's obscured by the blur filter. And as an expression of my gratitude for those of you supporting, this will be a little something that I can give back. And 1 year, this is a while ago, I gave away a router to the Cult Club members, and then after I gave it away, I realized it was like a $600 router, and I had no idea. And I was like, oh, whoops.
Well,
but that's fine.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing wrong with that at all. But if I had known it was $600, I might have kept it, Lewis. I might have kept it. But, that's fine. We gave it away. It made Captain Dr. Zach Hicks very happy. And before we wrap up here, I want to say, Hugo last with the $25 super chat. I completely missed it. Hopefully you're still around, Hugo. He says, how much do we have to pay to get LK to guard Irfan's porch? $25 might do it, Lewis. What's he up to these days?
I believe that this afternoon he's cleaning out a garage.
Really? Well, maybe he can swing by my house
What a
afterwards
project.
and just make sure that no one steals any more packages. No, I've set up my own security system. Thank you very much, Hugo. My own camera and security system with Boston Dynamics, RoboDog, turrets attached to the sides.
Probably a little more alert than El Caney 24/7.
Yeah, man. I saw Boston Dynamics RoboDog as part of Trump's new security squad. No joke. I saw freaking RoboDog roaming the premises. He got RoboDog. Boston Dynamics RoboDog. Man, we always joked about how one day those things would be climbing through your window. I mean, we're on our way. That thing is now doing patrols with camera equipment attached to it. It might even have weapons.
So creepy.
I know. Everyone was staring at it. I mean, it was totally surreal. Anyway, thanks to CarPod Go for sending this out to me. I love it, man. Absolutely love it. Great product. We'll link to it in the show notes if you want to pick one up yourself. And if you don't have CarPlay in your car, dude, check it out. It's a great way to get CarPlay in your car. I've been loving it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the other great thing about this is that you can take it out of your car, so it won't be stolen from your car.
You can do that. That's true. Hopefully it doesn't get stolen. If it does before I send out the new unit, then giveaway canceled. Giveaway canceled. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. But you know what? The party continues, especially on the all-new X. Lewis and I are both there. I'm at Airfon, ERFON. Lewis is at Lewis Walls. Just Google D. Griffin Jones, and you'll probably come up with the shady social media websites he inhabits. And you can have a one-on-one encounter with him there, which he's just always there lurking. Or you can come join the very exclusive Cult Club. Support.thecultcast.com. Support.thecultcast.com. Fork over the $5. Toss us a holiday present, an early Christmas present. Boy, how much would I just love to get my hands on your $5? You have no idea. I would love to get my hands just right into your pockets, pull those fivers out, and spend on the things that I care about. Doesn't that sound like something worth contributing to? Maybe not. Maybe you just do it out of the goodness of your heart. How about that? I want to thank everyone for listening. This has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute app conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening again, because that's just where it goes in the sequence of things I say. And we'll see you guys next time. Oh, man, look at that. Right on the nose with the music. Bringing it down for a landing 2 minutes before me and Griffin have to walk our sweet ones right out the door. Doesn't get any more pro than that, Lewis. Very definition.
Very, very pro.
Professionalism. All right, everyone. In the immortal words of Level Remix, adios. Bye, y'all. And for those of you in Japan, sayonara. For those of you in the great Germany, auf Wiedersehen.